Hello and welcome to another podcast, part of our Dental Business Transactions. And I'm delighted to have with me today Chris Mayer, who is Head of Practice Sales at Lily Head. Welcome, Chris, and I hope you're going to enjoy me grilling you for the next 20 minutes. She joked.
Absolutely, Lily. Thank you for the welcome. Looking forward to it.
So, Chris, I think it's really nice to find out a little bit about people when I talk to them, first of all. So, tell me about you, Chris Mayer. What makes you tick, both in and outside of work?
Okay, Lily, thank you for that. I guess ultimately what makes me tick is making things better and doing things better. So transformation, I would class that as, and very much that is involved in both my working life and also my personal life. So it kind of stems back to, I remember as a young boy, basically, I always used to just, change my bedroom round and try and make it better, just change the furniture around, make it function and look better. And then that's kind of moved into my adult life as every house that I've owned, I've renovated and improved. And typically I spend, a good few years renovating houses, and as soon as they're finished, I don't live in them, I just sell them straight away. So every house that I've done has been the same case. And then my experience in work has very much, been involved in continuous improvement, service transformation in that sense as well. I started my kind of career in customer services, and service is incredibly important to me. And ultimately, it's not just about doing what we believe is right, it's acting in the best interests of others and kind of meeting their wants and needs. And that goes for me personally as well, my friendships and kind of doing things for other people. Working with people is incredibly important to me as well. So, relationships, both professionally and personally, development and supporting other people to develop and improve, and also ultimately creating long-lasting friendships, and that both in a kind of personal side and a working relationship. And that goes back for the people that I've worked with over the years. So I'm still really good friends with people that I started my career with in other organisations, and also hopefully in Lily Head too. And then finally, I guess working hard, ultimately doing what I love and doing it well. So I guess an experience of that in my personal life is finding running in my late 30s. And that was kind of a journey towards getting fit, or realising that I needed to look after myself. And I went from a stage where it was kind of setting out to run around the block, maybe about a mile and a half, and kind of staggering in through the door like I was going to die. And then that kind of progressive to running ultra marathons nowadays, which is a huge achievement for me.
It certainly is, and I have to say that you certainly shame us when you tell us what you got up to the weekend, because it's very different to the landscape that the rest of us portray on our Monday meetings.
Not at all.
But
it's all a bit different.
What's interesting though, Chris, is that you talk about running, because it's something that, as you know, at the moment, it's not a goer for me because I've got an Achilles tendon problem. But I've often thought about running, or any kind of sport like that, where you think, well, it's too late, and I couldn't do it. It'll kill me if I did it. But as you said, you started off with a little tiny run, and you felt like it was killing you. And I suppose you can apply that analogy to lots of things in life. It's never too late. Give it a go, and you can build from that. And I see friends putting their Strava running data on Facebook, and it makes me quite envious, and it also annoys me because I think, oh, they're so fit, and I'm sitting there eating something perhaps I shouldn't. But I think that's a testament to lots of people that you started something that you weren't comfortable with, and look at you now running ultra marathons. We're very proud of you for what you get up to at the weekends. It's amazing. Well done. So look, that leads nicely to tell me a little bit about your background, for those of you that haven't had the pleasure of meeting you, both in dentistry and your broader career. Let's just touch upon that for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, I've worked in dentistry for a little over 10 years now. So I started my journey in the world of dentistry with Denplan. So I was a business consultant and an account manager. So my kind of remit was North East and South Yorkshire, where I looked after our key clients. And then my last 2 years within that company, I worked for the parent company, Simply Health. So I was involved in acquisitions and business partnering as part of their partnerships program, which was at that stage just getting off the ground. So that was where we acquired 50% ownership of dental practices and then worked with those practices. So that allowed me very much to not just support practices from an external perspective with regards to a service proposition such as Denplan, but actually get involved in the actual day-to-day running of those practices and experience the hands-on running of those practices and the challenges that faced. And that was a really, really valuable experience. And then lastly, I've been with you guys. So I joined Lilyhead in January 2020 and joined as a dental broker. My responsibility there was the north of the UK. And then now I'm your head of practice sales, which is great from my perspective, and hopefully yours too. So yeah, prior to that, I did have 13 years in financial services. So I started at the tender age of 20, working for Aviva, formerly Norwich Union. My last 2 years within that organisation, I was a business coach, so working internally with the departments across the life business and with leaders and their teams to help them improve and develop.
Good. And of course, listening to all of this, it becomes, obviously I was aware of it anyway, but it makes it ever more relevant, the role that you have with us at Lilyhead Dental Practice Sales, because all the skills that you've had, you bring very much to the role, and I see you excel at that. And it's all about the customer journey, the customer experience, and something that I hear you consistently say in all your dealings with not only your clients but also the team that you manage. It's all about how is the customer feeling, what can we do better for them and understand them, which is very, very important, because we are a service-driven role here, and it's important that you really get inside their head and what they're thinking and what they want. Everybody wants a great result, of course, they want the best financial result, but there's an awful lot that goes on behind it. So I'm going to ask you a bit of a curved ball question here. Why did you choose Lilyhead Dental Practice Sales? And I could say why I chose you, but I really want to hear what it was that you liked about us when we first met and had that coffee and then the process started.
Yeah, well, I think for me, Lily, it kind of stems back a little bit further to when we had that coffee. I think ultimately I was seeking new opportunities and challenges at that time, and at the time of me getting in touch with you, and I saw Lilyhead was advertising a role on LinkedIn, and it wasn't a role that was necessarily suitable to me, but I thought I'd get in touch with you from a networking opportunity because we'd had a relationship in the past. I think I met you some 5 years prior in one of the Denplan field team meetings where you came along and you talked to us about your proposition. That was a really good birthplace for me because ultimately I really liked what you were saying about how the ethos of Lilyhead Dental Practice Sales and your conduct as well, and what was important in your learns. And I think at that time, because my responsibility was very much providing a service to Denplan key clients, and some of that service that I could provide hands-on myself personally, but also we were reliant on other industry professionals, and that's why Denplan had at that point, and that relationship has grown more so with Lilyhead Dental Practice Sales and Denplan going forwards. So I guess I got a really good flavour for you and your team and your ethos at that stage, and I was able to use that to support my clients who I looked after with regards to their journeys, because they often came to me and they talked to me about their exit strategy, their exit planning, retirement, selling their practices, and it was an enabler for me to kind of have a trusted advisor, but for me to be able to go to someone with that industry expertise as to where I didn't have that. And every referral I made to you was really positive in that respect. The service that you provided, the promises that you made, you stood up for. So that was really good, and that kind of reinforced my kind of reasoning to kind of get in touch with you guys and look at opportunities that you were maybe aware of, either within Lilyhead or within your network within the industry.
It's that leap of faith,
I guess luckily for me at that time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it is, and I guess luckily for me at that time, you picked up the phone to me and said, "Yeah,
we saw something in you, Chris. That's what it was."
Relationship before.
This isn't the first time I've recruited someone for a role that wasn't actually there at the time, but I thankfully, on occasions in my life, I see something in people that I know that, you know, they would be very good at, and I talk to them, and obviously you took the bait beautifully. you know, we explained to you what we were doing, what we were looking for, and you were absolutely the right fit. And the stars were aligned, as they say. You know, it worked really well. So how's your time with us been to date? I mean, I know we've had a bumpy old year last year. We won't go on about that. But, you know, overall, how has your experience been being a dental broker, and with all the challenges and prior to lockdown, the travelling and everything? How do you feel about it?
I think it's right of me. It's right of me to talk honestly, and yeah, it has been quite a positive experience, but also a challenging experience. So I've been with the company now for probably 1 year and 3 months, which has been a good experience to date. So I think the positives have been very much that right from the word go, that I feel trusted and empowered just to get the job done. And there's a huge respect taken personally there. It's scary, obviously, doing new things, but at the same time, there's a good level of experience that you have kind of confided in, I guess, going forward. So that. The other thing that was really key, and from our initial discussions when we had the coffee over in Nottingham that time, was you were very open to the fact that you'd been in business for 10 years. You're obviously doing a great job. Lilyhead had a good brand, a great reputation, but you were always open to doing things differently and doing things better. So you very much welcomed that right from the start, and it wasn't just at face value, because you've embraced my appetite to bring change for the better with the company, and I guess with us with a team going forwards, and quite a broad level of experience, but also inexperience within the profession as well coming into the team, and as we build it, is that we use the value of everybody within the team, and what they can bring, and a fresh pair of eyes often brings more benefit, or as much benefit as an experienced eye as well. So yeah, I think, you know, I was brought on board to establish our presence in the north. I mean, we've always been a national broker, but ultimately, whilst we've always sold practices in the north, it was good to have a physical presence in the north and build and grow our proposition and service to clients. So having that physical presence there is been really important as well. And pleased to say we're now doing more business in the north, which is good. And I guess, you know, to kind of use what I know to support the broader ambitions of the company as we look to grow and develop our services. And I guess the other positive, as we've spoken about already, is I've been promoted in a relatively short space of time during what's been quite a challenging year. But I think, like I said at the start, I've got to be honest, and it's been a very challenging time for us all. And when I talk about us all, you know, within Lilyhead and externally outside of Lilyhead, the clients that we deal with, the professional advisors that we associate with as well. And, you know, 2 months into the role, obviously COVID hit, the pandemic hit, and I think it was really promising. I guess one of the things that you would probably ideally like is an easier life, but easier life doesn't necessarily bring a great sense of satisfaction, because you rarely get challenged, and when you get challenged and you overcome those obstacles and those hurdles, you get a much greater sense of satisfaction. And, you know, you and I both know that, you know, you and I and the rest of the team sat down immediately to review what we could do to tackle the situation. And we very much focused on, you know, the relationship with the professional advisors, sitting down with them on a regular basis to manage the change, but also use it as an opportunity to sit back whilst we went quiet and navel gaze and look at what we could do differently, and, you know, how we could develop our proposition, but also how we needed to evolve to make sure that we were delivering a service to people. So that whilst there's been an element of challenging time, it's brought good fortune and it's brought great opportunity. So yeah, my experience has been really good today.
No, that's good to hear, and I think you're absolutely right. You know, I've touched upon this in the past in podcasts, whereas, as you know, us directors have been doing business coaching through pretty much all of last year. We introduced and launched Lilyhead Finance, which is absolutely booming and flourishing. We are busier than we ever projected we would be. We are now smashing targets that we set for 2 years hence, so we're really delighted with that. And we really made that time to make the business stronger and better. And as you say, a bit of inward thinking and what can we do? So it's been a time of real learning. But thank goodness we're out through it now, and you know, business is strong. And I can remember when I first met you, Chris, we went to Scotland. Do you remember? And we did a tour of Scotland where we went to meet several clients and a few business professionals. And if anyone had had any idea what we would have been facing, I think we would have gone to a lot more pubs and restaurants while we were up there. Less, you know, we were pacing ourselves, but we had no idea then that, you know, it was what was facing the rest of the world. But anyway, there we go. So hopefully we can get back up and start travelling again soon. So what changes would you like to bring, and where do you see Lilyhead Dental Practice Sales in the future?
That's a good question again. I guess, you know, naturally we've got a really, really strong foundation. Naturally is probably the wrong word. It's definitely been something that you know, yourself and the rest of the team have worked very hard to deliver, and I think it's about standing strong for what we believe in. And I know that the business coaching journey that yourself and the rest of the leadership team has been on has been you know, tough and challenging. It's taken a lot of hard work, but it's good to have that clarity as to what we do and why we do it. So I think I've got the luxury of a strong foundation to work from. And I guess where I want to make things better is continue our you know, focus on our customer experience, because I think that's critical. Naturally, we're there to serve people, we're there to support people, and through, you know, a very technical, demanding, emotionally draining process, and something that's incredibly important. This is the deal of people's lives, you know, the deal of dentists' lives, and this is what, you know, we've got to take a sincere responsibility to make sure that's right, and with a real focus on what's right for them. That might not always be what they want and what they want to hear, but it's our job as kind of professional trusted advisors to make sure that we're supporting people openly and honestly throughout that transaction and getting the best result that we can for them. Like I've said before, and I may have majored on it, I think my passion is service. My passion is continually improving and you know, with a focus on our customers, to simplify our processes, to make them more effective, make them more speedy, make them more robust and rigorous. And then to really just continue to grow our organisation and our service proposition, and building upon what's already strong from a brand and a reputation perspective, but really just continuing to push that forward and drive it and make it better every day.
Chris, it's music to my ears, and I think you absolutely hit it spot on. I'm pleased that in spite of it being hugely challenging, you're still here, you're thriving. Obviously, you're now head of our practice sales, managing the team, and as we know, we're going to be growing that team shortly. And it's very exciting, but it's all about having the right strategic appointments and getting the best out of people and making sure that everything runs as smooth as one possibly can. So I want to thank you for your support and helping keep the boat afloat. And obviously, here's to the future. So thank you for your time today. It's really great, and I will look forward to chatting to you perhaps in a few months' time and see how things are going and developing. And have a great rest of the week. Thanks very much for your time, Chris.
Thanks, Lily. You too. Appreciate your time.